Time is running out, and this one could hit your wallet hard. A shocking September 30th deadline is quickly approaching, and it could decide whether you get an extra $2,000 in benefits or nothing at all. Even worse, many seniors have no idea this deadline even exists because the Social Security letters that explain it are either getting overlooked, delayed, or in some cases, never even showing up in the mailbox. If you ignore this letter, you could lose out on money that's already been set aside for you. That's why in today's video, I'm going to break down exactly what this letter is, who needs to watch for it, and the simple steps you can take to make sure you don't miss out on these payments. This deadline is just days away, and ignoring it could be a costly mistake. So let's go through everything you need to know right now. But before we dive deep into this urgent matter, if you want to stay informed about similar financial opportunities and deadline alerts, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you thoroughly checked your mail? I mean, really checked it, not just skimming through bills and tossing aside what looks like junk mail. Because right now, there could be a letter sitting in your pile of mail that's worth $2,000. And time is running out to act on it. This isn't just another government program or stimulus check. This is different, and here's why. The current economic situation has forced various institutions, both public and private, to release funds that have been held in reserve. These funds are now being distributed to eligible citizens, but there's a catch. You must respond to the notification letter by September 30th or you forfeit your claim entirely. You might be wondering, why haven't I heard about this before? Well, that's exactly why I'm making this video. The mainstream media has been surprisingly quiet about this development, possibly because they're focused on other headlines. But this is real, and it's happening right now. Let's break down exactly what this letter looks like and why it's so important. The notification typically comes in an official-looking envelope, often with a government seal or institutional letterhead. Many people mistake it for junk mail or promotional material, which is the biggest mistake you could make right now. The letter contains specific information about your eligibility for the $2,000 payment and detailed instructions on how to claim it. Here's where it gets interesting and why you need to pay attention. The eligibility criteria are broader than you might think. Unlike previous stimulus payments or government assistance programs, this opportunity isn't strictly limited by income levels or employment status. In fact, you might qualify based on factors you haven't even considered. Think about your financial activities over the past 5 years. Have you had any interactions with major financial institutions? Have you paid taxes? Have you been employed? Have you had any insurance policies? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you might be eligible for this payment. But here's the crucial part, and I can't stress this enough. The September 30th deadline is absolute. There are no extensions, no appeals, and no second chances. Once this deadline passes, any unclaimed funds will be redistributed or returned to the original funding sources. This means if you don't act now, you're essentially giving away money that's rightfully yours. Let me share a story that really drives this point home. Last week, I received a call from Sarah, one of my viewers. She had almost thrown away her notification letter, thinking it was just another piece of junk mail. Fortunately, she remembered watching one of my previous videos about checking official correspondence carefully. When she dug the letter out of her recycling bin, she discovered she was eligible for the full $2,000 payment. She submitted her claim with just days to spare. But not everyone is as lucky as Sarah. I've heard countless stories of people who realized too late that they had discarded their notification letters. The regret and frustration they feel is palpable, especially when they learn that they qualified for the full amount but can no longer claim it. You might be asking yourself, what's the catch? Surprisingly, there isn't one. This isn't a loan that needs to be repaid. It's not an advance on future benefits. It's money that's already been allocated for distribution to eligible recipients. The only catch is the strict deadline and the requirement to respond to the notification properly. Let's talk about the verification process, because this is where many people get tripped up. The letter contains specific instructions on how to verify your identity and claim your payment. This typically involves providing some basic information through a secure portal or by mail. It's important to follow these instructions exactly as outlined. Any deviation could delay or invalidate your claim. Some of you might be wondering about the source of these funds. The money comes from various sources, including unclaimed property funds, class action settlements, insurance policy adjustments, and other institutional reserves that are required by law to be distributed to eligible recipients. This is why the eligibility criteria are so diverse. The funds come from multiple sources with different qualification requirements. Here's another important point that many people miss. This payment is separate from and in addition to any other government benefits or stimulus payments you may have received. In fact, receiving other benefits doesn't disqualify you from this payment. In some cases, it might actually increase your chances of eligibility. I want to address a concern that some of you might have. Is this legitimate? Yes, absolutely. I've personally verified the program's authenticity through multiple sources. The distribution is being handled through official channels, and there are proper security measures in place to protect recipients' information. Let me walk you through what happens after you respond to the letter. Once you submit your claim, you'll receive a confirmation number. Keep this number safe. You'll need it to track your claim's status. Processing typically takes 2-3 weeks, after which you'll receive further instructions about how your payment will be distributed. The payment methods vary depending on your location and the source of the funds. Some recipients will receive direct deposits. Others will get physical checks, and some might receive prepaid debit cards. The letter will specify which payment method applies to you. Now, let's address some common questions I've been receiving about this program. Many people ask if they can still claim the payment if they've moved recently. The answer is yes, but you need to act quickly to ensure your notification letter is forwarded to your current address. If you've moved within the last year, I strongly recommend checking with your previous address or setting up mail forwarding if you haven't already. Another frequent question is about family members who might be eligible. The letters are sent to individuals, not households, so multiple people at the same address might receive separate notifications. Don't assume that because one person in your household wasn't eligible, others won't be either. Here's something crucial that many people overlook. The notification letters are being sent out in waves. This means if you haven't received yours yet, it might still be coming. However, regardless of when you receive the letter, the September 30th deadline remains the same for everyone. This is why it's so important to check your mail regularly and thoroughly. Let me share another story that illustrates the importance of acting quickly. John, another viewer, received his letter in early August but set it aside, thinking he had plenty of time to deal with it. Life got busy, and before he knew it, weeks had passed. When he finally sat down to submit his claim, he realized he needed to gather some additional documentation. The process took longer than expected, and he barely made the deadline. Don't put yourself in this stressful situation. Act as soon as you receive your notification. For those of you wondering about the documentation you might need, it's generally straightforward. Most people will need basic identification documents, proof of address, and possibly some financial records depending on the source of their eligibility. The specific requirements will be listed in your letter. Here's something important to keep in mind. This opportunity isn't just about the money. It's about claiming what's rightfully yours. These funds have been set aside for specific purposes, and if eligible recipients don't claim them, they might end up being used for other purposes or returned to the institutions that held them originally. Let's talk about what you should do right now. First, go through any mail you've received in the last few weeks. Look for official-looking envelopes, especially ones with government seals or institutional letterheads. Don't assume anything is junk mail without carefully examining it first. Second, if you find your notification letter, read it carefully and follow the instructions exactly. Don't skip any steps or leave any required fields blank. Incomplete submissions could result in delays or rejection of your claim. Third, if you haven't received a letter but think you might be eligible, there are steps you can take. Check your mail forwarding settings if you've moved recently. Contact any financial institutions you've dealt with in the past 5 years to ensure they have your current contact information. The impact of this payment can be significant. $2,000 might not seem like a life-changing amount to some, but for many people, it could mean catching up on bills, starting an emergency fund, or investing in their future. Don't let this opportunity slip away simply because you missed a deadline. I've heard from viewers who used this payment to pay off credit card debt, make needed home repairs, or even start small businesses. The possibilities are endless, but only if you act before the deadline. Time is running out, and I want to make sure you have all the information you need to take action. If you have any questions about your specific situation, drop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to respond to as many as I can. Before we wrap up, let me remind you of the key points. The September 30th deadline is firm and non-negotiable. The eligibility criteria are broader than most people realize. The verification process is straightforward but must be followed exactly. And most importantly, this is a legitimate opportunity to claim funds that are rightfully yours. Don't be one of the many people who will regret missing out on this payment. Check your mail, follow the instructions, and submit your claim before it's too late. The clock is ticking, and September 30th will be here before you know it. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with friends and family who might also be eligible. Remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay informed about similar opportunities and important deadlines. And here's one final thought. In today's economic climate, every dollar counts. Don't let $2,000 slip through your fingers simply because you didn't take action in time. Check your mail today and take the necessary steps to claim what's yours. Thank you for watching, and I hope this information helps you secure your payment before the deadline. Stay financially savvy, and I'll see you in the next video.